Imagine a world where you have an AI assistant for your health,
Hmm.
like not just for scheduling or reminders, but one that actually analyzes your medical data, you
Hmm.
know, helps you understand those complicated test results, even connects you with specialists. That's the kind of future that Tempus AI is building, and yeah, it's causing quite a buzz in the healthcare world.
It's definitely a fascinating area where technology and healthcare are coming together. Tempus is aiming to revolutionize how we diagnose and treat diseases, and they're doing this by using the power of artificial intelligence.
Before we get too deep into that, though,
Mm.
if you're enjoying this deep dive, please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our future episodes. Now, let's really break down what Tempus AI is all about and why everyone's talking about them.
Temcan is basically merging healthcare and technology. They're creating what they call intelligent diagnostics.
Okay.
What they do is use AI to analyze huge amounts of data. We're talking about genomic sequencing, clinical records, imaging data. All this is used to improve the accuracy and personalized lab tests.
So it's kind of moving away from that traditional one-size-fits-all approach to medicine and more towards something that's tailored to each individual patient.
Exactly. It's all about using data to understand each patient's unique characteristics and their specific disease. This personalized approach is built on their Tempus platform, which integrates all this different data and makes it actually usable for doctors and researchers.
Sounds like a pretty big undertaking. How did this all start?
So the company was founded back in 2015 by Eric Lefkofsky, and he was inspired by a personal experience, his wife's breast cancer diagnosis. This really fueled his vision to change how we approach healthcare using technology to make diagnostics and treatment better.
It's really amazing how these personal stories can lead to such big innovations. So where does Tempus stand today in terms of its business?
They've had incredible growth. As of January 2025, their market cap is at a significant $5.5 billion. In fact, their stock went up by 36% just today, reaching almost $48 a share.
Wow.
And this surge is all because of the launch of their new AI-powered personal health app called Olivia.
Olivia, you
Yeah.
say, what's so special about this app?
Think of Olivia like a central hub for all your health data. You can connect it to over 1,000 health systems. It can sync data from your wearables, or you can even upload your records manually. Then Olivia takes all this data, organizes it into timelines, and you can share it with your healthcare providers. What's even more impressive is that you can actually ask Olivia questions and get summaries of your health information.
That sounds incredibly useful for anyone trying to understand their own health records. It's like having a personal AI health advocate right there on your phone. Speaking of high-profile interest in Tempus, didn't I hear that Nancy Pelosi invested in the company recently?
Yes, that's right. She purchased 50 call options for Tempus stock. It definitely shows a lot of confidence from someone who knows both finance and technology.
Definitely suggests she sees potential in Tempus's future. So we have this innovative company, a really compelling story behind its founding a hot new app, and even attention from big names. But what about their core business? How much are they actually reaching the market?
Their reach is impressive. Tempus is currently connected to about 65% of U.S. academic medical centers, and they're working with over 50% of U.S. oncologists. That's a big part of the healthcare landscape, especially when it comes to cancer care.
That's quite a footprint. Now let's zoom out a bit and talk about the industry as a whole. What kind of market is Tempus operating in?
They're playing in the precision medicine market, which is growing rapidly. This growth is driven by a few things: advancements in genomics, the demand for personalized treatments, and of course, the constant innovation in healthcare technology.
Sounds like Tempus is in a good position to take advantage of these trends.
Hmm.
But how big is this market exactly?
The global precision medicine market is predicted to grow at a rate of over 16% per year, reaching almost $250 billion by 2030. The U.S. market alone is expected to reach over $76 billion by 2033. And while Asia-Pacific has big growth potential, it also has challenges like high costs and complicated data management.
So a huge market with a lot of room to grow, but I'm guessing Tempus isn't the only one in this game. What's the competition like?
It's very competitive. Tempus has competition from companies that have been around for a while, including biotech firms, pharmaceutical giants, healthcare IT companies, and there are always new companies entering the market. Everyone wants a piece of this growing pie.
So Tempus needs to stay ahead of the game to succeed in this environment. We've talked a lot about the company itself, but what about the people behind it? Let's talk about the management team.
Leading Tempus is the founder Eric Lefkofsky, who, as we said, has a track record of success as an entrepreneur. His leadership and vision have been key in the company's fast growth.
Can you give some specific examples of Lefkowski's achievements at Tempus?
Well, the launch of the Olivia app is a big one. Also, Tempus has grown its immuno-oncology portfolio significantly. They've developed some really advanced AI-powered tests in this important area of cancer treatment, and they're very committed to research. They have over 500 peer-reviewed publications, which shows how dedicated they are to moving precision medicine forward.
500 publications. That's really something. It shows they're not just about profits, but about really contributing to science. What about the rest of the leadership team?
The team is made up of people with a lot of experience in healthcare technology and business, so it's a strong and well-rounded leadership structure.
We've got strong leadership, a talented team, and a groundbreaking approach to healthcare. But how about the money? Are they actually making a profit?
That's where things get a bit more complicated. While Tempus has great revenue numbers, over $640 million, their net profit margin is actually negative right now, around negative 125%.
Negative 125%. That sounds a little worrying. Why is that?
It's not unusual for companies that are growing as fast as Tempus to have negative profit margins. They're putting a lot of money into research and development, expanding their operations, and building their presence in the market. Basically, they're spending now to make more money later.
So it's a classic case of you got to spend money to make money. But are there signs that this strategy is working?
Absolutely. Their revenue growth has been beating industry averages. In the third quarter of 2024, they reported revenue of $180.9 million, which is a 33% increase from the year before. And they're projecting around $700 million in revenue for all of 2024. That's a 32% growth compared to last year.
So huge growth, but still not in the blacks. What are some other financial things we should know?
Their debt-to-equity ratio is pretty high, over 817%. This means they rely a lot on borrowed money, which could be risky. Also, their return on invested capital is negative, which means they need to be more efficient with how they use their money.
Sounds like Tempus is trying to balance aggressive growth with financial stability.
Exactly. They're at a critical point, and their future success depends on how well they manage this balancing act.
Before we move on to market sentiment and the potential risks of Tempus, we're to remind you that all the sources we use for this deep dive are linked in the description. Go ahead and check them out and do your own research. And if there's a stock you want us to cover in a future episode, let us know in the comments. We're always looking for interesting companies to explore.
All right, so let's talk about how the market is looking at Tempus AI.
Yeah, we've covered their business model, the management team, and their financials. What's the overall feeling? Are investors and analysts feeling good about Tempus's future?
I'd say the general feeling is pretty positive. Analysts see the potential that Tempus has in this precision medicine market that's growing so fast.
Yeah.
They're really interested in how the company is using AI. It's seen as something that makes them stand out in this competitive market.
AI is definitely a hot topic these days. Investors are always looking for those companies using the latest technology. But what exactly is making people feel good about Tempus? Are there any recent events that have gotten the market's attention?
Absolutely. Their financial performance, even though they haven't turned a profit yet, is encouraging.
Mm-hmm.
Also, they've made strategic partnerships with big players in the healthcare industry.
Yeah.
And the launch of their AI health app, Olivia, that's created a lot of buzz.
Those are all good signs for investors. Strong partnerships and successful product launches are always good news. Now let's look at who owns Tempus. Who are the main stakeholders and how much power do they have?
Institutional ownership is pretty big in Tempus. You have large investment firms like SoftBank Group and NEA Management. They hold a lot of shares in the company.
So we're talking about some big players with deep pockets and a lot of experience. What about the company's founders and executives? Do they have a big stake in Tempus?
Yes, insiders, including Eric Lefkofsky, hold a good chunk of shares. This is usually a good sign. It means that the people running the company are invested in its success.
They're not just making decisions, they're also sharing the risks and the rewards. That kind of alignment can be reassuring for investors. But haven't there been some insider transactions lately, some buying and selling?
That's right. There have been both purchases and sales of Tempus stock by insiders. It's hard to say exactly what these transactions mean without knowing all the details. It could be personal financial decisions or strategic investment moves.
So some people might be cashing out while others are buying more. It's something for investors to keep an eye on, but not necessarily a red flag. Is there anything else we should know about Tempus's governance or transparency? Any rules to ensure they're doing things ethically?
Tempus has a strict insider trading policy in place.
Okay.
This is an important step for ethical behavior and transparency. It makes sure everyone is playing by the rules and that no one is taking advantage of inside information.
Transparency and ethical conduct are super important in any industry, but especially in healthcare, where trust and integrity are key. You mentioned earlier that ownership concentration in Tempus is quite high. What does that mean?
It means that a small group of people, the insiders, and those large institutional investors have most of the voting power. This can be good and bad.
How so?
Well, concentrated ownership can make decisions happen faster, less bureaucracy and fewer disagreements, but it can also raise concerns about potential conflicts of interest and a lack of independent oversight.
So a small group could steer the company in a direction that benefits them, even if it's not the best for all the shareholders.
Exactly. That's the potential downside. Something investors should definitely think about. Now let's do a full risk assessment of Tempus. Every investment has its risks. We can use something called a SWOT analysis to look at the company's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats.
A SWOT analysis is a great way to get a complete picture of a company. Let's start with the good stuff. What are Tempus's biggest strengths?
Their brand is very recognizable. That's a major plus. They've become a leader in AI-driven healthcare very quickly. And their stock performance since they went public last year shows this positive image.
A strong brand and a rising stock price are always good signs. What else is working in their favor?
Their massive data library is a huge advantage. They have over 200 petabytes of data, clinical records, imaging, data genomic sequences. It's a gold mine of information that powers their AI algorithms and gives healthcare professionals valuable insights.
It's like having this vast knowledge base that they can use to come up with new ideas and improve patient care.
Exactly. And their platform, the Tempus platform, connects everyone important in healthcare providers, researchers, patients. This smooth data sharing and collaboration is essential for making precision medicine better.
It breaks down those walls that usually exist in healthcare and creates a more connected and coordinated approach.
And their laser focus on AI is another strength. They're not just experimenting with AI, they're fully committed to developing and using AI-powered solutions throughout the company.
They're really betting on AI being the future of healthcare.
That's right. And that focus on AI-driven automation could mean big cost savings down the line. We're talking about potential reductions of 40 to 60% operational costs. They could even speed up clinical trial matching by up to 300%.
Those are some impressive numbers.
Yes.
Efficiency and speed are crucial in healthcare, both financially and for patient care.
Absolutely. And they've also built strong partnerships with leading institutions. They work with academic medical centers, hospitals, and even big pharma companies like AstraZeneca. In fact, they collaborate with 95% of the top 20 oncology pharma companies.
So they're not just working on their own. They're working with the whole healthcare community, using expertise and resources from many different places.
Exactly. Those partnerships are super valuable for reaching more people, getting new data, and staying at the forefront of innovation.
So we've got a pretty impressive list of strengths here. Strong brand, huge data library, integrated platform, focus on AI cost advantages, and powerful partnerships. Tempus seems like a real powerhouse.
They've definitely built a solid foundation for success, but we have to remember no company is perfect. Let's look at some areas where Tempus needs to improve.
Okay, let's hear it. What are some of their weaknesses?
The fact that they're not making a profit yet is a big concern. Their big investments in growth are leading to those negative profit margins. We talked about that earlier. It's normal for a young company, but as Tempus grows, investors will want to see a clear path to profitability.
They need to show that their business model can actually make money eventually.
Another weakness is that high debt-to-equity ratio. They rely heavily on borrowed money, which makes people worry about their financial risk and whether they can handle all that debt.
So their financial stability could be a problem.
One more vulnerability is that they depend a lot on a few key partnerships. While those partnerships are good in many ways, relying too much on any one partner is risky. If that relationship goes bad, it could hurt them.
It's always better to have more options and not put all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly. Now let's talk about the opportunities that Tempus has. Despite the challenges, there's a lot of potential for growth.
Okay, what are some things Tempus could take advantage of?
The precision medicine market is still growing. That's a huge opportunity. We already talked about how big the market is projected to be and what's driving its growth. Tempus is in a great spot to benefit from this and gain more market share.
They're in the right place at the right time.
Exactly. Another opportunity is expanding to new regions, especially the Asia-Pacific region, where there's a huge market for precision medicine that hasn't been fully tapped.
Going global makes sense for a company with big ambitions.
Of course, they need to keep innovating to stay ahead in healthcare, which changes all the time. Tempus has to constantly develop new AI-powered solutions and applications if they want to stay competitive and attract investors.
Innovation is key for any tech company.
Right. And don't forget about strategic acquisitions. Buying companies with the right technologies, data sets, or market access can really boost what Tempus can do and help them grow faster.
Acquisitions can be a great way to expand and gain an edge over the competition.
Now, let's talk about the threats that Tempus needs to deal with. Every opportunity comes with its own challenges.
What are some of the biggest threats on the horizon?
The competition in precision medicine is fierce. You have established players with a lot of money and resources, as well as new companies that are quick and agile. They all want to be the best. Tempus needs to keep innovating and stand out from the crowd if they want to stay ahead.
It's a constant battle for market share in a high-stakes industry.
And technology moves so fast. AI, genomics, data analytics are all evolving incredibly quickly. Tempus has to stay alert and keep investing in research and development so they don't get left behind.
It's like running a race where the finish line keeps moving further away.
And data privacy is a growing concern in healthcare. Tempus works with a lot of sensitive personal information. They have to navigate complex regulations and prioritize patient privacy if they want to keep people's trust and avoid hurting their reputation.
Protecting patient data is not just a legal requirement, it's the right thing to do.
These are just some of the major threats that Tempus faces as it moves forward.
So while Tempus has a lot going for it, they also have some big obstacles to overcome.
Yeah, that's the reality of working in a fast-paced and competitive industry like healthcare.
So it really does sound like they're walking this tightrope between growing quickly and making sure they're addressing these potential problems.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Their success will depend on if they can handle these challenges and make the most of the opportunities in front of them.
We've talked about a lot today, from how Tempus is changing healthcare with AI and how fast they're growing, to their financial situation and the tough competition they face. It's clear they have huge potential, but also some serious risks.
Yeah, they're a really interesting company, pushing the limits of healthcare and technology with a big vision for the future.
And speaking of the future, we talked about their goal of revolutionizing healthcare with AI. But we should think about the bigger picture here. As AI becomes more important in medical decisions, how do we make sure these algorithms are fairly accurate and unbiased?
That's such an important question. We can't just jump in without thinking about the ethical implications of using AI in healthcare. We need to have safeguards so we don't end up with unintended consequences.
It's a complicated issue with no easy answers, but it's a discussion we need to have as AI keeps changing healthcare.
Absolutely. We need to find that balance between using innovation and making sure it's truly helping people.
Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into Tempus AI. I hope you found this exploration insightful and maybe even a little thought-provoking.
If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to our channel for more in-depth looks at companies shaping the future.
And as always, remember, we're just sharing information here, not giving financial advice. Do your own research and due diligence before making any investment decisions.
That's great advice. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time.